In this video, we'll be writing a program to find if a word, a number, or a phrase is a palindrome and display the result using an interpolated string. So there's a couple of new concepts that we want to learn is about palindrome and interpolated strings. So let's start with a palindrome. Now, palindrome is a word, phrase, or a number that reads the same forward and backward, ignoring spaces. Ignoring spaces, punctuation, and capitalization. Here are some examples. The words level and radar, they read the same if you try to read this forward or backward, same spelling. And the phrase no lemon, no melon reads backwards the same, no lemon, no melon. And these numbers also read the same forward and backwards. So let's start with getting the user input. So to get the user's input, we'll start off by writing to the console. We don't need a write line because we don't want to have a new line after this line, but rather we want the user to be able to type on the same line as this displayed statement. And we want to store the result that the user enters into a variable called input using console.readLine. Let's save up our program and run it to see if it works as expected. So it works as expected. Let's keep on going. Here we want to check if input is a palindrome. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to, we will have to write this method. So and pass it in as input. We will need to come back and fix this. So let's go down and we will come back to this part, but let's go down to this part where we create a method to determine whether the given string is a palindrome or not. So this method is a Boolean because a palindrome or not, true or false. And then I'm just going to paste in the method that I've just written down, but we need to change the variable to text, and it's also a string. And the method starts from here and ends somewhere here. So what we want to do is remove spaces, punctuations, and convert to lowercase using the character class .ToLower for case-insensitive comparison. And then what we want to use is use the IsLetterOrDigit method that's provided by the character class in C#. It is used to determine whether a specified Unicode character is categorized as a letter or digit. So what we want to do is we'll create an empty string for now. So here is where I want to be. An empty string. We'll call it cleaned text. So it's completely empty. And then we will use a for each loop. And for each character in our string that is called text, we want to now check if this character is a digit or a letter. So we'll pass in C, that character. And if it is, we will concatenate it to our variable clean text. And it's important to have that plus sign, otherwise it will just overwrite whatever's there. And it won't really be a string. And then when we add it, we also want to convert the letter to a lowercase. Now, if it's already a lowercase, nothing's going to change. But if it's not a lowercase, like an uppercase, it will be converted to a lowercase. Now, what we want to do is check if the above works. So what we want to do is we're going to use an a method, a write line call, and here we're going to use an interpolated string. We start with a $sign and the variable that we want to display the value of. Oh, and I forgot the quotation marks. So quotation here and quotation here, and that's it. Now, because this method returns a Boolean, it's going to complain. So let's just make a return true for now, and we'll fix it in a second. Maybe more than a second. Let's see what we get there. I've got a line here, line 51. Console.WriteLine. Yep, definitely not correct. Okay, so we'll write some lowercase, some numbers, punctuation, spaces, more uppercases, space, lowercase, and see what we get. So you can see that everything, all the spaces are removed, and we can see that the punctuation has also been removed. So that's what we wanted. We wanted to remove punctuation, spaces, punctuation, and also convert lowercases, uppercases to lowercases. And that's working as expected. For this part, we can actually comment out. And then we want to, before we come to this part, we actually need to write this other method over here so that we can actually come back and check, because we have a comment here that says compare the original with a reverse string. So let's create a method that takes a string text as input and returns the reverse version of that string. So we'll go static string, we call it reverse string, string text, and our function ends here, actually, not there. Oh, it's not, no, it happened. Okay, so what we want to do is convert the text to an array of characters. That's our first step. So using an array, we can call our array variable char array or character array, and then we can use the two character array here. We are converting the string into an array of characters. Then we want to reverse the order of the elements in the array using the array class. It's got a method called reverse, and it just returns the reverse order of this. It just basically reverses the order of the elements in this array. And then what we want to do is also here check if it works, if the above works. And so we will use an interpolated string also again, but because this is an array, we actually need to convert it into a string. So new string like this. And then we also need to return a string, because this method returns a string and it returns a reverse. So basically it's that line we just written here. Return new string. And the other thing that we want to do is make a call to this method from here. So for now, I'm just going to put it in here, but we will have to fix this line also. So let's just see what we will get. So I'm just going to write A, B, C, D, E, F, H, I, J. So the reverse is basically, if I'm going to read this backwards, A, B, C, D, E, F, H, I, J. So it's actually working as expected, and we've got all the spaces removed. So this part also works as expected. Now this method is actually complete. So here we return the reverse characters as a string. This method returns as a string, so it's important that we also return this as a string, because we're going to use a string to compare it with our original string. So we're going to come back here and write this, so we can actually capture the result of this return string into a variable that we call reversed string, and then return, instead of saying true, we can say return cleaned text, and we'll do a comparison here with the reverse string. So this will basically return true or false. But a shorter way of doing this is you can literally just copy that line and paste it like this. Okay, so this method should also be finished. Let's come back here. I'm going to copy this line, and let's come back up here to see how we can fix it. Now this part, check if the input is a palindrome. That's that method returns a Boolean. So let's capture that into a variable that we call palindrome. And then what we want to do is display the result using an interpolated string. So here we'll use an if condition. If is palindrome, if is true. And we'll close down here. Create an interpolated string where the variable input is embedded into a string literal using the $sign. And so I've just copied that line we've done down below. But here we want to display the variable input. So to do that, so the variable input is embedded into a string literal using the $sign and the expression to be evaluated using curly braces. So that's our expression. And then whatever you want to display to the user, here we'll say if it's true, then we will say it's a palindrome. And then else, it's not a palindrome. It is not a palindrome. And so here what we have is some words on interpolated strings. They're useful for creating strings with dynamic content without the need for explicit concatenation or formatting. So they are quite useful. So now we'll test our work and just make sure that it actually works. So we can use the words level. So that's a palindrome. Let's try radar. So that's also working. Let's try this statement. So that's a palindrome as well. And then let's try a number. Let's try this one. And of course, if we try anything else, like 1, 2, 2, 5, 5, 6, then it's not a palindrome. So that's pretty much it. I hope this video helps you learn how to identify if a word, a number, or a phrase is a palindrome, and how to use interpolated strings to display content in your to the user. That content can be dynamic. So this is the benefit of using interpolated strings. And I'll see you in future videos. Thank you so much for watching.